Call the work session to order at 6:32. I apologize for being a few minutes late here. All right, so first we'll review, first welcome Todd Warner.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Warner. We could do a TV show.
Yeah, welcome back, Mr. Warner.
Yeah, I don't have that hair anymore.
Anybody have a theme song that you want to sing? So we'll go through the regular meeting first. Got more ceremonial matters than we have anything else. We'll give the oath to Todd. We've got Bobby Howard for the invocation.
Again?
Erica Freeland's gonna do the pledge.
Thrilled to have him.
We got Todd's oath. Baron Griffin will administer the oath to put him on the planning commission. Chief Whitehead has awards for the police officers. And then we have the President's Award to the City of Snellville by the East Side Chamber. Got the minutes, a couple of department reports.
Scrap SYC tonight.
Okay, I've got that.
Okay.
And then under public hearing, we have the Valvoline. Anybody with questions or concerns of Jason before the meeting?
I'm a little bit concerned about the buffer on the backside.
Me too. Do you know if they were able to
Yeah.
work something out?
From what I understand, the property owners reached out to the other property owners in the rear and several times with no response. Email, text, phone calls, and we haven't heard anything. So I assume if they don't come tonight that they're not concerned with it. That seems to be what property owners said after they spoke to them. They were just kind of confused on what was actually happening and that they were okay. So we'll see tonight.
When you say they reached out to them, what method of communication was used?
I believe they texted, they called, emailed, all the contacts they had. I don't know if they went as far as to knock on the front door. But,
Before the planning commission, what was said during the planning commission meeting was that the people who own the house speak Korean. Oh, is it you?
Yeah, I was spoke to her.
Okay.
on the way.
Oh, you're the one that spoke to her.
She actually spoke to her also on the phone.
And so they went with, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
My name Suji.
Susan.
And she went and spoke with them because she spoke the language and talked to them before. So there was a contact before, but there was still confusion when in
Yeah, that's
the
what-
family. I think it was the daughter that came to the
I
planning
think that's what I had
commission
read
meeting,
in
so.
a planning department report or something, that there was some confusion, and that's what concerned me.
Yeah. So I know there was discussion after the planning commission meeting, but I don't know what happened. So we'll find that out in the meeting.
Okay, okay.
Ask the applicant about that. Does anybody else have any other issues or concerns
Same
with it?
question.
So just to a little bit further in regards to the buffer, once we start transitioning the more commercial uses back there, those buffers are gonna begin to, to dwindle and, compared to what's there now, the hours will be truncated, they'll be done at, 7 o'clock, they don't start till 9 or 10. All the work will be done inside the service bay, and the only thing that will be there is the employees' cars that have moved back. And the reason they moved back was because of the curb cut and the distance from the intersection. I'll let the Valvoline representative speak to that a little bit more. So pending approval from the neighbors, I don't really have a problem.
Right?
And when I talked to you on the phone, you said it would be hard for them to decrease the buffer because they need
Yeah,
the
three.
stacking area
The
for,
3 stacking lanes and actually where the curb cut comes in and where.
and they can't move the curb cut, you
Right.
said.
Yeah, because the county
Right.
isn't gonna allow it to be any closer than it is to 124. And they don't even have a curb cut on 124, so that's their only access point. They said 40 cars a day typically, but they'll give you the rundown there.
deal. We just need to make sure it's landscaped.
Oh, yeah, it is with the
Properly.
fence and,
Yeah.
you know, we'll make sure of that. We've got a condition to protect the property.
Then we have under new business, the certification of the special election results. Anything you need to say here? Or just- Then we have a first reading for the alcohol ordinance, to go ahead and change. We gotta go through 2 readings for that to take effect.
And that language has to be as is.
It's hard to read, isn't it?
It makes,
It took me a long time to get through the
Absolutely.
first
That's
paragraph.
quotes from your legislature.
I
So-
figured,
Wow, that
Operation.
figures, huh?
Yeah.
So the 11:55 on Saturday to 1:55 on Sunday.
Those are all PMs. That isn't something you're even dealing with. That's the way it's
Right.
been.
It's
No,
just,
there is
it's so horribly written.
Still,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
the
horribly
distilled
written.
spirits.
Yeah, and I have struggled. I have
Okay.
struggled with it, but it's the statute.
So it's a
There
state
anything
thing.
that part isn't to change. The ingredient that changed is it moved to 11 a.m. on that
Right.
first clause under beer and wine and alcohol, and it does that. It accomplishes the Sunday brunch, and the rest of it is the way it was and the way the legislature
Nothing we can
approved
do
it.
about it.
And you know, it's as confusing as it can be.
but you can serve liquor anytime except when you can't.
Yeah.
Were they perhaps
That's-
indulging
that's
when they
what it
wrote
says.
this? Is that-
Yeah. I'm just glad to hear it's not you that wrote that.
And then that's it. Okay, so we'll go back to the work session agenda. Any correspondence?
No, ma'am.
City attorney.
I do
report.
need an executive session tonight.
Okay.
Will you go, Matt?
Can you do it after I'm sworn in?
I don't expect any voting issues.
Is it property or court?
It's property and court. Yes, sir.
I have a couple
Afterwards,
property items
really?
too.
The standard.
You don't want my input? You don't want my input.
Send it in a text.
They don't want your help either.
Okay,
We don't do after 9:30. I'll be coming over.
Okay.
all right, discussion items about Flag Day ceremony request. Is Mr. Sabag here?
Yes.
Yeah, hey, Mike. You'd like to give a rundown of what you got
I
going?
can. Well, first of all, it's great seeing the good old faces again. I've not been here for a little while, been traveling quite a bit and busy. It's good seeing you all, and good seeing some of the new ones here in the room. Flag Day is an annual event, for those who do not know, that was born really right here from this building in 2012. And I had taken, tell you what, I am honored to be part of this Flag Day ceremony. This year's Flag Day is going to be held at the Masonic Lodge on Lenora Church, right next to the fire department. If you're familiar with the neighborhood, we have installed at the lodge a brand new flagpole. I'm sure the city knows about it. And that's what we're going to be flying the flag on that flagpole on June the 15th. That would fall on a Saturday. And as you know, the Masonic Lodge has a canopy, a big one, so in case it rains or some people don't want the sunshine, they can sit under the canopy. The program begins at 10 o'clock and it's supposed to last for 1 hour. There are a lot of dignitaries that come in, possibly some folks from Senator Johnny Isaacson's office will be there. Hopefully he will come, because last year when I spoke with his staff, they said that he was coming. Reaching out to Congressman Rob Woodall, Hank Johnson, Congressman Hank Johnson, and the local representatives in the area to join us. Of course, I am here inviting all the council members and Mayor Bender to attend the ceremony. Thank you so much for last year. We had a proclamation. I'm asking you again for another proclamation this year for the same. as you have done last year. Everybody welcome to come. Bring your flags with you. I have some cards in my pocket that they're hot off the press. Just came in the mail today. I didn't check for any editing. If you do see anything, let me know. So I'll put some right here if you feel like you want to grab one on the way out. Thank you so much, Mayor. Unless you have questions for me.
Do you have a guest speaker scheduled yet, Mike?
I have a guest speaker. You'll probably know him already. He confirmed with me today. His name is Mac Brannon, the battalion chief. Of course, you know, he's been in the city for many, I think he was born here. And now we're working on the rest of the program to be able to structure it correctly. Chief Whitehead had offered via text message to bring the color guard, Snellville PD, to join in the procession of the flag ceremony. And it is amazing too. If you have never seen the color guard, our color guard here in the city, you're missing a whole lot. Come on out and join in celebrating the All Glory, salute the flag, let's sing the national anthem, have fun that day. There'll be some refreshments, coffee, other goodies out there.
Also, South Gwinnett Color Guard would probably be more than thrilled to participate if you.
Please, if you can,
JRTC.
can you be the liaison?
Sure.
For,
Be happy to.
fantastic. And just let me know, email me, text me. I'm on call. It'll be awesome. If you can get the, see, the problem is in June, the high school
Right.
are out.
They do events all year, so they'll be used to it.
Perfect. Just let me know how many come in, and we will include them or submerge them in the program, whether they like it or not. They'll be part of it.
No, they'll love it. They're great kids.
Boy Scouts will be there, the Girl Scouts will be there, and they've always been a great help. They passed the programs, bottles of water, flags, the cleanup and all, so it's been a fantastic time. So the program's being restructured pretty nicely year after year, and I think we eventually can get to that milestone where it would be just a self-running type of a program without having yours truly involved in every step of the way, and feel like I need a hand off the time to someone who's much better looking, smarter than I am, and take the lead.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
being here.
Anytime, email me. Many of you have my email. If you don't, I'll be more than happy to share.
Thank you. And next we have discussion about extended stays. Who's taking that?
Well, there's a proposed ordinance, I think, in your packet
Oh.
that,
It's a little lengthy.
it's a little lengthy. We probably need some instruction,
In
would be the
the
next thing, is to, it's not ready to place on an agenda yet,
We
it's
didn't.
just take a look at
We
it,
didn't get that.
see if it,
Got
re-
it.
If we did, I missed it.
Planning commission, because unless you
That's
want to
not-
send it for it.
right. So it's going to the planning commission for their review at their next meeting, tomorrow night.
Okay.
And then would appear for the first time for review with you guys for a first read at the April meeting. So we're just looking for instructions and thoughts about whether we hit the mark or not on what you were trying to regulate. But it's a pretty long ordinance and fairly complicated.
We didn't get that in our packet.
No.
It's on the website.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
We might need an extra 30 minutes at that work session to dig into that a little bit.
First reading too.
Right.
What's that?
First reading.
Yeah.
So when will that work session be that we're talking about in an extra 30 minutes?
What is that?
Next time.
April the 8th?
Next time,
April 8th.
next time?
April the 8th. It's up to you guys, but I'm just saying that we probably need an extra 30 minutes to go dig into that a little bit.
And I'll send everybody a Word version of that so it's easier to edit if you want to.
Okay.
And that way you don't have to search for it.
so the 8th?
The 8th at 6?
Is that okay,
It's fine?
Roger?
Or
Should be
food?
fine.
No food?
Okay.
No food?
No food.
Okay.
We can't even serve beer or wine.
You know,
Okay, animal cruelty ordinance.
With the animal cruelty ordinance, what we've done is just updated your adoption of the county code provisions. And
Yours goes on.
in between the time you adopted it the last time and this time, they've added a cruelty section for us. It defines cruelty, which y'all got a copy of that. It defines as a felony certain types of aggravated cruelty to animals. And then it goes through in what is the county section 10-173. It gives a whole list of things that are criminal events when it comes to animal treatment, which includes neglecting adequate drink, food, adequate space, adequate shelter, ventilation, sanitary
This was
conditions.
last time. Yeah, that one I remember looking at.
And then there is a failure to provide reasonable remedy or relief of an injury or disease as a criminal violation. Failure to provide necessary veterinary care, causing unnecessary suffering to any animal, beating, torturing, tormenting, mutilating, otherwise treating any animal in a cruel or inhumane manner, any of the above while the animal is tethered. And so it's a full list of things that would meet that if we found an animal for sale that was in a restricted area that was in bad condition, it would violate 2 or 3 of these provisions.
What do you mean in a restricted area?
I mean, I think our original concern was we were finding animals in what we would consider puppy mills, restricted, closed for sale, not taken care of, not being given a medical, veterinary assistance. This lays out a series of terms that would violate. And so if the animal is being treated poorly, then it fits within these definitions. The odd thing about the way we deal with the county ordinance is that we adopt it by reference, and that's what this ordinance does. What makes it hard is when the county changes their ordinance, which they added these provisions in 2017. I think you adopted it prior to 2010. And so you have the county modifying that ordinance without the city council taking any action on it. So we're just sort of catching up. We wanted a cruelty provision, so this provided us one. All we do is re-adopt it, and I think we're in good stead. In the actual amendment itself, we empower both the county and the city police department to enforce those provisions. So we sort of incorporate with regard to future prosecutions. If we're concerned, we can use our own folks to prosecute the puppy mill kind of circumstance. So I think we've come up with a pretty good solution to what the council
Will
pointed
that
out
go to
there.
county or city court?
It goes to city court, no matter which citing entity. If it's in the city limits, then it returns to municipal court. And the ordinance you're adopting says that too, but as a matter of law, it would, so.
And Todd, just to catch you up at the retreat in December, Gretchen had brought up about the regulations. Do we need regulations to prohibit puppy mills from operating within the city? And we started talking about it, and it's, everybody was kind of the mind, let's let the market conditions dictate that. People don't want to buy from stores that they're that are selling animals like that, then it's gonna run them out of business quicker, or would run them out of business. But then we came up with the ability to prosecute it under the Cruelty Act instead of creating some other ordinances and laws that regulations.
Yeah.
Overly regulatory.
Yeah.
I thought our ordinance has already limited the number of dogs that you can have in a residential setting already. And if you're going to, I believe our, Jason may know if he's, there's already a restriction on where you can raise livestock or animals such as dogs and puppies. Wouldn't that already fall under that provision?
I think it's
commercial.
5, it's a kennel.
And
Yeah,
that's
over 5
but
it's
we
a
were
kennel,
also
kennels
looking at
restrict.
like the stores.
Okay.
Commercial
Like a
entities.
commercial store coming in. And instead of creating a regulation to prevent that,
Right.
I don't think we have any stores that are selling dogs in Snellville, but right up on Sugarloaf Parkway, I think there is one. I mean, they're not far away.
Right.
And they were before.
Mm-hmm.
They were selling before.
They were, but now they only,
They do
they only
rescues, yeah.
do adoption of rescues.
Yep. So that's kind of where it came out, and then we started looking at the cruelty tax that we can
Right.
go in and
But
enforce. it
animal
that way.
control will still take care of wayward animals within the
They
city
do.
limits.
Yes.
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes there. Okay. Good.
Does that ordinance say anything about cats? No, I mean,
Can't have cat
no,
houses.
I'm not talking, it doesn't. I just wondered, because we have a family in our neighborhood that,
Please get your legislation.
I think he told me at one time they have about 15 cats, and
Okay,
a
yeah,
lot of the
I'm not even
neighbors,
close.
a lot of the neighbors complain.
Okay, item D, discussion about unsolicited advertising material ordinance.
And I think y'all may have gotten one of these in packet, but I modified it a little bit.
Before and after.
And,
We didn't get any
and so
of this.
the basic part of it
Send it to
is,
somebody.
yeah. Everybody got one?
Better get one.
This comes up when solicitors throw a pink bag with a rock in it, in your driveway. That's what really triggers the thought here. And all types of unsolicited advertising that get thrown at you are stuck to your mailbox. We're basically saying you can't do that. And then as we looked at limiting that, we came to a point where there are certain parts of that we might not want to restrict, which is political campaigns, and we might not be able to constitutionally disrupt that part of the process. So we, on the second page in red, is an attempt to sort of carve out some exceptions to this unsolicited advertising. You can always receive it if you want it, and so that's not a violation. If you give somebody permission to pitch a pink bag into your driveway, then they certainly can. But the exceptions are political campaigns, and then the second one is materials distributed by government, public schools, or other registered nonprofit organizations that are registered with the Georgia Secretary of State. That one causes me a little bit of concern because I forget what the name of the pink bag people are, but they are registered nonprofit with
Hope House.
Yeah, with the Georgia Secretary of State. So when we open that up, it's not very difficult to get that exception, to qualify for that exception when it comes to the definition of nonprofits.
Are they registered or are they agents that are registered?
The entity that they're representing is a nonprofit. And so the question becomes, how broad do you open that door back up for unsolicited advertising to come visit you?
You said unless they give permission. How do people give permission?
We'll probably call you and say, hey, can I just drop something off and, hang it on your door?
Oh,
So
okay.
you actually
Okay.
say it's okay to deliver it.
Okay.
If they put it in your hand and you accept it, we're not saying don't speak or don't communicate with people. It's just when it's totally unsolicited and it really amounts to littering.
And this does include those AJC advertisements
does.
they throw out twice a week.
And that's really more, to me, what this is
Yeah.
geared towards.
Because those are annoying. I
Right.
mean,
Pink bags are once a year.
Yeah, I don't mind so much the once a year thing. It's these twice a week things that people don't bother to pick up, and they drive over them and they get soaking wet. And
I thought of you when I picked mine up this morning. I drove over it.
Yeah, and when you have, and if they drive by and they still see 3 sitting out in a driveway that haven't been picked up in weeks, they still throw more out
They
there.
still throw
So you got a vacant
And half
house and
the
these are
time
just
they
building
wind up
and-
in, they don't even get them in driveway or the yard, they're in the street, you know, they're,
So, I mean, it's really a matter of trying to give some teeth to preventing that kind of litter and waste without throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
so
here.
what is the penalty for, say, if the AJC continues to do this?
Well, that's in the hands of your municipal court judge, but it's up to $1,000 and, you know, it's a misdemeanor charge.
It's the same as littering.
Right.
Normally, am I allowed to speak, Mayor?
Yes.
Normally, I'd be against something like this, but one of the issues that came up as I was campaigning, over and over in neighborhood after neighborhood, is most of our stormwater system drains either into lakes or directly into streams. And any time that somebody throws garbage out onto our streets and our driveway and it's not picked up, it washes into our storm sewer, and then it goes into our lakes and our streams. And that really is not acceptable. So, good job, because we need less trash. We also have problems with our recycling and trash because people aren't picking up and it goes
And the other
straight
thing,
into our
people
water.
are not always bagging their trash, and the garbage truck comes and dumps it, and
I mean, that
stuff goes
happens.
flying
I
all
have-
over the
Right,
place.
so.
We have nothing,
So
and it
we
still
may
happens.
want to address some of that in our stormwater legislation going forward.
Does this cover your religious groups as well? I mean, is number 2 gonna be
It would.
inclusive of
It
some
would.
of those? Okay.
Well, if
Yeah,
they're
I mean,
registered
honestly,
nonprofit.
Well, they drop
I
it
can
on the
deal with
door,
people
you know.
coming up to my front door and sliding their little religious handbills in the front door and leaving them there better than somebody throwing something out on the driveway. You know, at least it's not out where it's blowing around and if you're not
Getting in
home
the
for a week or
storms, right.
two,
Yeah.
you know, that it's all not sitting out in your driveway building up.
Okay.
So, I mean, just personally, I don't have as much of an issue with that as
Yeah,
if somebody's
I
gonna
agree.
go up and stick a business card in your front door and stuff, well, sometimes it's a little annoying. It's still not as bad as somebody throwing stuff out in the yard.
My neighborhood's popular for that, maybe more so than yours,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
But it's,
an issue. I don't know if it is down your.
Yeah.
and every so often, we
Every
get
week.
somebody from a neighborhood that just, you know, gets fed up with it, or they've had a couple of vacant houses, or people gone for a while, and so we get calls about the, you know, it is like the AJC, their Sunday advertisement thing that they send out, that
I think theirs is the most
intrusive, I
Yeah,
think.
well, the Sunday drop thing.
So it'd just be
Well,
nice
they
to be
do it
able to have
Thursday and
Yeah.
Sunday, or Wednesday, it's either Wednesday or Thursday and
something to
Sunday.
be able to help the residents that are having issues with it.
Our real question is, you know, I think we've sort of gotten what council wanted with regard to this, with the exception of really figuring out number 2. And our question is, if we put in the exemption of other nonprofits registered with the Secretary of State, then we open the door to the pink bag. I mean, that's really the sort of, okay. Do we want to do that or not do
But
that?
as we said, that's usually just a once or twice a year thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that
And
doesn't
they don't throw,
bother.
they don't throw those on the driveway, do they?
No.
Don't they put those
Well,
on
they
the?
Put 'em on the
usually into
mailboxes
the
usually.
mailbox.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Those were
bother me
taped.
as
You know,
much as this
is
twice
the
a
last
week.
time
And
that they
that's-
came through, is that the first time I remember
That's the
that
first time I
happening?
remember it,
No.
yeah.
No, it's happened before?
In Summit Chase, we've had it going back years. I don't know if it's the same organization, same premise.
I wonder too if we talk with the organization, if there's any
Well-
luck there.
As we reported last time, it really is illegal to attach it to your.
To the mailbox,
Your
right.
mailbox.
Which is-
That's a federal rule, so,
Even if it's attached to the outside of it, or, okay.
anywhere on
They
it.
just
Maybe
don't
not
care about
mailbox.
enforcing it, so it's
Okay.
irrelevant.
I am okay with the nonprofits,
Okay.
you know, you guys, yeah.
You okay?
So both C and D will be a first reading next time.
Cool.
Can we get the draft up on the website, please?
What about B?
Draft up on
Get the draft
I'll
of
get it to you.
Of the
advertising.
proposed ordinance up on.
Is that gonna go to
I
first
think
read?
maybe they'll put it on there after the work session, after the discussion.
Okay.
As far as the extended stay, when we have the discussion next time, you may want to move that to the agenda, but maybe not right now. Make that decision then.
So just put it on the work session.
And then Todd just requested that these draft ordinances go up on the website.
I know there's a 0.05% chance anyone will actually give us input, but it gives them the opportunity.
Okay, all right, ongoing projects.
We have the town center. I have a need for an executive session also, and the documents that you'll be reviewing will make it clear that we have had daily property discussions with several entities. Trade said the town center design work and the plan, the property discussion is really holding that hostage right now. We've gone about as far as we can go. We've notified the county to let them know what's going on there. And so we continue to work together, but until we have a little more decisions where property is concerned, we're kind of on hold right there. Town center zoning and area development. That is when we have the mayor and council work session on the UDO. That will be the next major discussion where you guys can have input into that development. And the planning staff knows to incorporate that discussion in the UDO. And if we skip down to the UDO, we're still waiting on the stormwater section from Pond. The zoning portion of the draft has been received. The staff has put their comments on it. And there has to be some discussion with Caleb there, but we're still waiting on Pond for the stormwater section.
Any update on when that might be?
Jason, I mean, have they told us anything? I don't have a day for it. I mean, we continue to put pressure on them.
Austin has needs.
I did run into Caleb a couple of weeks ago, and he was mostly done addressing our comments and said he didn't have a date on the pond section.
Well, like I said, we keep pushing them. City marketing, we've got some ideas out, I think, on the Explore Gwinnett magazine ad. And on next Saturday, we are going to have our first clean and proud cleanup. These are the vets.
I hope we
Really?
wear a shirt under that.
Whatever you want.
They'll be big enough to slip it over.
Roger.
I was hoping it was coming with the model that was in it when I saw the
But I
draft.
tell you, the Jeff Tweed at Big Frog has been great to work with. He's donated these. We will have we'll have vests from Clean and Beautiful, Gwinnett Clean and Beautiful, and gloves, and we'll be ready to go at
What time
10
are we doing that?
10
o'clock.
10 o'clock
10 a.m.
next Saturday.
Yep.
Councilman Emmanuel has been a driver there.
Thanks, Dave.
Brian Arrington has been very good to follow up on everything, and I think we'll have a good turnout.
Do we have a plan as far, are we
Meet at
meeting-
City Hall.
At City
meet
Hall.
At City Hall.
We taking the bus?
We're taking the bus, yeah. No, we're taking the bus, it's gonna stop, we'll get off, pick up litter, get back on the bus, go home.
Okay.
I thought we were supposed to wear orange jumpsuits when we do that.
You can qualify for that.
It's Todd's weekend loungewear.
Yellow is.
Roundabout construction.
For that
It's amazing to me how the traffic moves so smoothly through North and Fars, but then it backs up at Ridgedale and Fars. If anybody heads towards 20 or down Hillside, I cannot wait for the second one to get started and completed. April 4th is the county bid opening. With the help of Chuck and Tony and once again the planning staff, I think we have language agreed upon for the turn lane at Ridgedale and North. So both of those projects should be able to proceed once we get the bids, or once the county gets the bids. They're in charge of construction and start working on that. 78 and 124. When you go through there, I'm sure on the northwest and southeast corners, you've seen the columns or the pylons going up. That's the signal bridge, which will sit on top of those. Those will be Snellville wayfinding signage vertically on those columns. And the signal bridge will have all the lighting and information. There will be no wires hanging across that intersection.
Well, and I saw Brian, I think, posted something on Facebook today about it, which is good. I didn't see that picture, but I'm gonna grab it and put it on my page because that's what everybody's asking. What are those two big posts?
I was gonna say.
It is not a flyover.
I was about to post it as a bridge.
Yeah, it's a flyover bridge.
First
yeah.
bridge in Snellville.
It's an overpass.
Now, somebody might try to crawl over that sign bridge, but the signs up on 124, I think it's had an impact for some of those businesses. They also have a temporary sign up on their roof that Brian pointed out today. We do not have a final completion date yet, but we're moving towards. Robert Moon, the superintendent, said that they'd be paving out there sometime in April.
They would start paving in April, at least in those lanes, yep, that are off. They won't be in they'll be in the traffic lanes soon, but he didn't say that yet.
They're catching up a little bit with some better weather. Really no change on the SDS negotiations, no word from the county there. 2017 SPLOST program, it's kind of interesting. Looking at revenues for our budget, this is obviously a special fund. It's not the general fund. But we projected $240,000 a month, and just looking at this fiscal year from June, we're averaging about $260,000. So that will be nice extra money for our various projects. And remember that the 2017 SPLOST, 71% of that is dedicated to the parking direct, parking garage, and other town center initiatives. So that's good news there. FY20 budget work is underway. We'll have that discussion in the next few weeks. Ordinance development, I guess we talked about everything that was on the work session today. Good work, as always, from Tony and Chuck. And just a few miscellaneous items. You've got, I think you've got a map here. We have submitted our community development block grant for the purple route, this section of trail that will run from City Hall to Briscoe. It's about a $400,000 request. We haven't gotten any CDBG money since we built the senior center. So hopefully this will be a positive application. From everything that I've heard, it has a very good chance of being funded. So that will be a good sum of money. Further update, you also have a layout of the farmer's market on the green. Kelly, I'm glad you're here. We did not receive a legitimate bid on our landscaping proposal for the green. No landscaping firm feels like they could guarantee that there would be, that good grass would be warranted and would stay there. We talked to Chelsea Gardens, one of the most highly respected local landscapers, and they came up with an alternative. And on this map, you can see that alternative. If you look at the outlined area in red, this would be the work area, the proposed work area that Chelsea would do. They would go in, they would aerate, they would loosen the soil out. It's unbelievably compacted right now, and they'd bring in sand and the proper material, and they'd sod a large section of that. One request that they had, if you look at the yellow area there, just prior to the one, half of that to the west is where the volunteer tent is now. And their request was to move that volunteer tent to the hard surface over where the X is. And I know that affects the driveway coming in from the bank, but I need to know if that's a possibility. I think I brought it up with Gretchen.
Our volunteer tent is one, so that.
The volunteer tent is in one.
Yes, it
So
is
we
one.
could protect that whole rectangle there. That's
You're
what,
saying move it to where this X is?
to move it on, if we could move it on the hard surface wherever.
Move it
If we could just
here?
move it to the north, it would be
Right
great.
there?
Yes,
That's where we prefer, I think.
okay. What about staff?
Well, honestly, a lot of people come in and they access the green through that brick coming in that way.
Absolutely, we know that. But with the volunteer, everybody stands around and is right around the volunteer tent, and it compacts the sod and the dirt, and so the landscaper's saying, if we could move that onto the hard surface, it would make a big difference. So we're trying to make it, I mean, Gay was in the meeting, that just seems to be something that they need to make it work. We'll be relocating one of the irrigation boxes that's right in the path of all the truck traffic now, moving it out of the way, and just trying to give the soil and the sod every chance to take place, and that work will commence this week. So it'll have 6 weeks, I think, before Food Truck Friday, the first Food Truck Friday in May.
Well, if I may just say this, the amount of traffic, not just at that one tent area, but the amount of traffic that goes in the entrance of the green is the issue. I mean, it's probably from the brick out, a good probably 8 feet to 10 feet that goes out, it's just from a high traffic volume.
It is, I mean, we talked about matting, we talked about other options, and they really feel like that this is the best one, and we'll see how it works. It's, instead of putting $40,000 out there, we put $4,000, and we get a possible, at least midterm fix. And if we could, and I know we've talked about this also, when vehicles come on, have them come slowly and not turn quickly. But we know there's going to be traffic. That's a good thing. It's just like road traffic. It's a double-edged sword. It's a good thing, and it does cause problems, but we want people out there. We want the traffic. But if we could just make these changes, give them a chance to make their improvements, and then we'll see where we are.
Well, I'm happier with a $4,000 expenditure and see if we can make that work.
Well,
And we'll move our farmer's market tent to the bricked area, but
if we could do
we'll see.
that.
I mean, there's still gonna be a lot of, and we'll tell our vendors
There
that they
is.
have to drive slowly, but there's still gonna be a lot of foot traffic.
Yeah.
Butch, is it possible to add scattered pavers in that first 8 to 10 feet, which would allow truck traffic to maybe put more of their weight on a hard surface while still?
They felt like if you just extended the bricks, then you're just going to extend where the damage takes place.
Where it comes off and where they turn, because when they turn, they side load it.
Right, but if you.
Todd, he said that if you intersperse bricks like that, then it makes aerating those places where the bricks aren't impossible.
Okay.
So he did not recommend any kind of an intermittent solution. He either said brick it all or dirt it all, sod it all, just because there's no way to get between the bricks to aerate if you put a field.
I just think this is the best, least expensive option right now. I really do. So if, just wanted to let you know what we were doing, wanted to make sure that all of the stakeholders and users were on board there. Thank you.
Do we have time for our work session?
We need to have at least one segment of it before the meeting.
Okay. All right.
Where's your script?
Right here. No. Here it is. During the work session of the mayor and city council of Snellville, Georgia, Mayor Bender announced that certain matters should be discussed in a closed session of the meeting and asked council to advise the city with respect to closing the